Welcome to my channel. This is Tales of the Old World. This video is the first part in a 4-part series I'm doing on starfort theories. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, I'll explain. And if you know everything about starforts, you'll want to listen in because I have some new theories and some different perspectives you may have never heard before. But I'm going to try to cover every popular alternative theory about starforts in this series. So let's get into it. First off, what is the mainstream definition of a starfort? Here's the definition from Wikipedia. A bastion fort or starfort or tres atlantean, a phrase derived from a non-standard French literally meaning Italian outline, is a fortification in a style that evolved during the early modern period of gunpowder when the cannon became dominant on the battlefield. It was first seen in the mid-15th century in Italy. The design of the fort is normally a polygon with bastions at corners of the walls. These outcroppings eliminated protected blind spots called dead zones and allowed fire along the curtain from positions protected from direct fire. Many bastion forts also feature cavaliers, which are raised secondary structures based entirely inside the primary structure. Their predecessors, medieval fortresses, were usually placed on high hills. These fortifications proved quite difficult to overcome, and accordingly fortresses occupied a key position in warfare. We in the alternative history community classify these medieval forts as starforts as well, due to the shape and star points in the outer fortifications, examples being the city of London, Copenhagen, or Frankfurt. But the questions that arise to cause for further theorizing and researching are, how did medieval people build such intricate structures that are often aligned with the rotation of the heavenly bodies and built with massive canal systems and even terraform entire mountains? And why would the early settlers in America build these same structures as soon as they reached America? Some of these starforts are made up of millions of bricks, and we're supposed to believe they were built by the first people who got to America. Many starforts are also discovered in remote regions of Europe, America, and even places like India that are completely covered in dirt and vegetation. Many times they are also completely undocumented in logs and history, and yet the star shape is still visible in these unknown ruins. Some theorists suggest that the starforts were part of a larger network of advanced civilizations that existed around the world. This could explain the similarities in design and construction techniques found in forts across different continents. These starforts are also shown to incorporate advanced technology like water pumping systems, resonant frequency technology, symmetry, and intricate tunnel systems below them. One of the key features of starforts is their alignment with the stars and planets. Some researchers say this could be evidence of an advanced knowledge of astronomy and possibly connecting with extraterrestrial intelligence. Some starforts are thought to incorporate advanced acoustical principles, with the walls designed to reflect sound waves in a way that amplifies them. This technology could have been used as communication or as a form of defense against attackers. One might liken this to the way the Israelites destroyed the walls of Jericho in the Bible. Another key point to mention is that the many starforts were built during the same time period as the Knights Templar, who were known for their advanced knowledge of engineering and architecture. Some theorists suggest that the Templars may have been involved in the building of these starforts. And I have a video on a possible Templar voyage to America before Columbus that might relate to the building of some of these starforts in America. I'll put that in the cards in the description if you want to check that out. All of these unexplained and seemingly impossible phenomenon has led many to suspect there's been a cover-up in our history, and these were built by a much earlier civilization that has disappeared from our narrative. Which brings me to our first theory about starforts: the Atlantean origin theory. Not a lot of people talk about this idea, but I really think it's possible that starfort technology was passed down through the remnants of the Atlantean civilization. Atlantis was said to be a massive earthwork structure with huge canals and moat systems that surrounded the entire island. If Atlantis was a starfort, it would have been the largest ever, larger than any man-made island we have. But it's the concentric circles of Atlantis that makes it definitive in my mind that it was built as a starfort and incorporated all of these same technologies we find in starforts today, which we will get into later. Here's an excerpt from Plato's Critias. Atlantis was founded by the god Poseidon and was ruled by his descendants, the Atlanteans. In this island of Atlantis there was a great and wonderful empire, which had rule over the island and several others, and over the parts of the continent. The city of Atlantis was designed in concentric circles, with the palace of the king at the center. It was said to be filled with magnificent buildings and temples, and was surrounded by an extensive system of canals and harbors. The whole country was said by him to be very lofty and precipitous on the side of the sea, but the country immediately about and surrounding the city was a level plain, itself surrounded by mountains which descended towards the sea. And beginning from the sea, they bored a canal of 300 feet in width and 100 feet in depth and 50 stadia in length, which they carried through the outermost zone, making a passage from sea up to this, which became a harbor, and leaving an opening sufficient to enable the largest vessels to find ingress. In the interior of the temple, the roof was ivory, curiously wrought everywhere with gold and silver and orichalcum, and all the other parts, the walls and the pillars and the floor, they coated with orichalcum. And one grievous day and night befell them, when the whole body of your warriors was swallowed up by the earth, and the island of Atlantis in like manner was swallowed up by the sea and vanished. This sounds like a star fort to me. Unfortunately, this is the only known historical description of Atlantis, so it's up to you to decide if it was just coincidentally similar to a star fort or the origin of this technology. Many cultures from around the world claim to have gained their knowledge of civilization building and even architecture from a lost, advanced civilization. These were the bringers of civilization, and the stories say after a great cataclysm they spread their knowledge to different places around the world, some of them being the Fertile Crescent, India and Pakistan, Mesoamerica and South America, and Far East Asia. And many of these places constructed things like giant fortresses, pyramids, and giant earthworks often similar to starforts. Some of the starfort theorists say that many of these early civilizations could have built the starforts we see there today, or possibly they could have been there even longer, or contained ruins dating back to such a time. Many ancient structures are built on top of older ones. This is a common practice that can often confuse dating methods and distort history. If Atlantis was the first star fort, it would explain the origins of the advanced technology and the terraforming that star forts incorporate, and it suggests there may have been deliberate effort to hide the true origins of star forts, possibly to keep the knowledge of an advanced civilization hidden from the masses. But this is just the beginning of the mystery. If Atlantis was the first star fort, it only raises more questions for us to answer. The idea that Atlantis may have been a star fort is a fascinating theory that raises many questions about our past and the potential for lost civilizations. By exploring the evidence and asking critical questions, we can continue to unravel the mysteries of the past and gain a deeper understanding of our world today. That's all I have for you today, but go ahead and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I make part 2. It should just be a couple of days here. In the meantime, check out my video on the Templars in America before Columbus. Thank you for watching. See you next time.